through. So again, welcome to our course on teaching English as a foreign language online to school-age students. I would like to extend a big thank you to Dr. Laura Backer. Dr. Laura Backer is our main lecturer and her colleagues from New York State University. And on behalf of Dominican Republic TESFLO, I would like to thank Dr. Laura Backer because she has been trying to make this program real for 2 years. And it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago that we finally made it real. So Dr. Laura Backer and the City University of New York, thank you on behalf of Dominican Republic TESFLO and the teachers of English in the Dominican Republic. Now, today, we will be working on the review of modules 1 and 2, and we'll be reflecting on your assignments for today. I know some teachers are here for the first time, and some other teachers were here before, but they have asked me to review what's been taught because they're just getting used to online instruction. So again, the purpose of this program is to really gain knowledge for real practice and application. That is why if we need to review or go over any theme, we will do so promptly. Now, the first class, we made it very clear that we are going to make our virtual classroom productive and engaging. That is the purpose of this program, learning to make virtual or distance education classes more productive and engaging. And in order for that to happen, first, once again, I'm going to review with you the core structure of this program, and very importantly, the online etiquette rules of the same. I will now disable the microphones for everyone because this is part of the online etiquette rules we need to talk about. Well, in terms of the core structure, let's see how these weeks are organized. First of all, this program was designed for an 8-week syllabus, which means that this program will be ending on the week of August 20th. The last class will be on August 19th. Now, these are the modules of the class. I would like to repeat this. In this module, most of the classes will be on live sessions in Zoom, but you will also have assignments for review and feedback, which you will work on independently, and they will be reviewed later. Now, keep in mind that the end of class will be July 19th, and that there will be a graduation ceremony on August 27th. That ceremony will be presential, will be at a local hotel in the country. And then the same day of the graduation is precisely the day of our 2021 DR-TESFL annual virtual convention. So the day you graduate will be the same day we will be holding our annual convention. That will be August 27th. And for those of you who can make it to Santo Domingo from the provinces, we will have a graduation ceremony at 3 p.m. at a local hotel where we will have both your graduation and the closing plenary for Dominican Republic TESFL 2021 annual virtual convention. So that's going to be a great day, both your graduation and the annual convention for DR-TESFL. Now, in order to make this program even more practical and feasible, I would like to ask all of you to create your Zoom account. Some of you are users of Zoom, but you actually don't have an account. So it is very important for us to better program this course. We need everyone to create a Zoom account. Go to Zoom and create it, because for that you need to have your email and other information. There are two ways to use Zoom. You can use it with an account or without an account. But for this course, we need everybody to create your own Zoom account. That is going to make it easier for us, for example, to assign groups in Zoom for breakout room activities. And it's going to help us to better program the course because all the live sessions are held in Zoom. So once again, please create your own account in Zoom. You have the instructions here to sign up for your own free account. Just visit Zoom, enter your email address, and you will receive an email from Zoom. In this email, just click Activate Account, and that'll be it. But again, You need to have a Zoom account in order to participate in the program, so we don't have to be falling behind on schedule. Something else, all the content of this course is held in a Padlet. This is our Padlet, where we publish all the materials for the course and all the activities and all the assignments and all your production. We have 4 WhatsApp groups. That's very important. And I have published the access link to Padlet, our Padlet, on the WhatsApp groups. And I would like to take this instance to remind you, because I get hundreds of calls every day and messages asking for information that is already in the WhatsApp groups. In order to be in this program, you need to constantly review the WhatsApp group you belong to. There are groups 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I always publish all the information on the WhatsApp groups. So I don't have to be responding individually to everybody on things that are already in the WhatsApp group. So once again, please check your WhatsApp groups and remember all the information, all the content for this course is in the Padlet account. If anyone doesn't have it yet, then yes, feel free to contact me and I'll send it to you. Now, in these Padlet groups, you will be in a home group for the whole course. There are groups 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we need to have more groups, we will have them. Now, all the activities are published in the groups. For example, you had an assignment for today, and some teachers texted me and called me asking how to upload their assignment. Well, all you have to do is click on the group, then click on the activity, and if you look at the red arrow, there is a plus sign. When you click on the plus sign, then you have this pop-up. And then there's an up arrow, and this arrow, then when you click on it, then you can pick a file from your computer and then upload it to the Padlet. Once again, you go to the Padlet, then you choose the group. Once you are inside the group, if you want to upload a certain activity, just click on the activity or assignment, press the arrow. When you press the arrow, then you have another pop-up, and then here you just click on the up arrow. This arrow then will allow you to pick a file from your computer, the file with your assignment. This is how we do it. It's very simple. I know it's new for some of you, but it's okay. We just need to learn how to upload our activities to Padlet. Again, the theme here is learning. It's not about completion. The idea of this program is that you learn and improve your professional performance. So do not worry too much about compliance. This is about performance. If you were not able to upload your assignment, it is okay. We will talk about it today, and we will basically discuss it as well. But from now on, please make sure you know how to upload your assignments to Padlet. And if you don't, then text me, and I will send you a file with an orientation for that. Now, this is very important now, because I know some of you are new to online learning or maybe to this kind of program in terms of how to manage yourselves and behave, but we need to keep and maintain online etiquette, and I insist upon this. There are certain rules of etiquette and expectations for engagement that we need to maintain in this program if we want to take the best out of it, if we want to get the most benefit out of it. The first one, and I said it earlier at the very beginning of the program, is please always keep your camera on. We have to respond to INAFOCAM, and we have to report your work and your presence on this course. And we take screenshots of all the groups and all the screens in the program, and we report those screenshots to INAFOCAM for every class. So please, we need everybody with their cameras on, whether you have a cell phone or a computer or a tablet. Please try to always keep your camera on. Communication is enhanced, is improved when you can see someone on the screen. Very important is the next one. Keep your microphone on mute. This will help to reduce background noise and distraction. As soon as you enter the class, please verify that your microphone is muted. And if you want to say something in class, raise your hand and wait for the teacher to acknowledge you before unmuting. Make sure to turn it off after participating. In previous classes, we had a lot of interruptions. People who would turn their microphones on and wouldn't even notice, or try to give an opinion without raising their hands. I guess the most important thing to remind you today is that your microphone should always be muted unless instructed otherwise. If we want this communication to be effective, we need to keep our microphones on mute, please. And I would like to insist upon this. As soon as you log into class, mute your microphone. If you log in late, make sure to log in mute too, because otherwise you will create a distraction in the middle of the class. We know that some people won't be on time sometimes, but at least you should always keep your microphone on mute, again, unless instructed otherwise. And this is very, very important because we've had a lot of interruptions in the last two classes and distractions. So please do your best to keep your microphone on mute. Something else, be on time. Please set up early so that you're good and ready when class starts. This class starts at 5 p.m. sharp. And if we want to make the most out of our learning sessions, we need to get here on time. I know some people have excuses. They have called me and explained that today they are delivering grades and receiving parents and students at schools, and they are going to be late. But before joining class, get to your study space before class. Make sure your internet connection and computer are working, and don't wait until the last minute to set up your space and your computer. In fact, by 4:30, you should be making sure that your computer is okay, that your phone is okay, that the space is fine, there's no noise, and that you have a correct connection to internet. But there's a lot to do. This program is only for 8 weeks, and this is the second week. So we only have 6 more weeks to go, and we have to make the best out of it. Let's not waste time. In fact, today I am doing this because I want to make sure that the next class session be taken advantage of. Be prepared for class. Have everything you need within reach. Make sure you have all the required materials with you before class starts. Be fully present. That's why I insist upon having your camera on. Pay attention and participate actively when required and when instructed, that is. You are teachers. I mean, for example, when we assign breakout rooms for work, you are supposed to do it with leadership. You don't need to be called by anyone to tell you to do that. So since this course is for teachers, it's very important because you require the same from your students. You see? We get out what we put in. So let's try to be fully present if we want to take the most out of this course. Be an active listener in the chat box. You can use the chat box for the topics being discussed and be a chat leader or cheerleader in this case. Write to everyone to contribute to the conversation and to individual hosts when that makes more sense. But please do not overload the chat with unnecessary comments. The chat is to be used for the comments on the issues being discussed, not for comments. So let's just try to attain to that too. Very importantly, because in the last class, some people had difficulty in using the breakout rooms. You have to join the breakout rooms when asked to. Breakout rooms are sessions that are split off from the main Zoom meeting. They allow you to meet in smaller groups for collaboration and discussion for the class. Now, in order to join the breakout room, you have to click join on the pop-up screen when the screen pops up. Today, we'll do an exercise for that as well. Well, then before we begin the review of modules 1 and 2, I'm going to stop here. And before I start the review, if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask before I continue. Well, Maria Eladio, your hand is raised. If you wish to say something, or just lower your hand, please. If you have, okay, it is allowed now. Now you can unmute if you have any comments, questions before I begin the review. Any comments, questions before I begin my review? Go ahead.
Teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Every homework or assignment is in Padlet.
Is what? I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Padlet. If it is in Padlet, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but
everything is there.
It's over there. Something else. If you need any more help in learning how to upload your work to Padlet, let me know now, because I can show you again. That's what this session is for. I want to make sure that next Monday, everything is clear and that we know how to use all the applications in the program. Eufemia Diaz, go ahead, please. And then after Eufemia, we have Hector Alvarez. Go ahead, Eufemia.
Okay, good afternoon. So we have some assignments in the Padlet, but I want to know if we are going to work according to the class, right?
Absolutely, and it's only one assignment you have.
Okay.
It's only one, and we'll go over that now. In this class, we'll go over that assignment. So it's not much, not yet. In fact, next Monday, let me inform you that next Monday, we are having the formal opening of this program with INAFOCAM directors. So I just want to make sure that when we begin a program, I mean, we are teachers. And as teachers, we have to exercise etiquette and good manners online as well. You see, we have to walk the talk. Hector Alvarez and then Josefina Tejeda.
Okay, good afternoon. So my question is, you know that I wasn't in the last class because I didn't know about it, because you told me about this 2 days ago. But I watched the video that you recommended me to watch, and I already did the homework, and I upload the assignment to the
one of the groups, right?
Exactly.
That's perfect. I mean, if you are new, you can choose any of the 7 groups to upload your speaking activity to. If you were not in the previous classes, that is not a problem, Hector.
All right. Do I receive a message saying that you received my assignments?
All those that are uploaded are received. When you click on pick a file and send it, that is your receipt. However, we have 8 professors from the University of New York reviewing your work.
All right, thank you.
And on every class session, they review your work. Remember, again, I want to say this again. This course is not about compliance. This course is about performance. What I mean by this is that your reflection in your work is to your own benefit. We are professionals, we are teachers. We are not here to comply with homework and that's it. That's not the idea of this program. In fact, we have something big in mind for the upcoming school year. And we need to make sure that teachers actually can improve performance, not just comply with a job. But yes, the answer to your question is yes. All of your work is reviewed by the 8 professors in the City University of New York. And today, for example, we will discuss your work and we will discuss it in groups and as a whole. Josefina Tejeda and then Smarlene Peña before we continue.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead.
My question is, you know, I'm the first time that I'm here in the meeting, but I tried to do the homework. But when I see the person who is after me, I mean before me, And after me, I saw that they do the same thing in both. In the introduction, it's mean in introduction, we suppose that we are going to talk about who I am, where we work, and something like this. And the assignments say the same.
Yeah, basically because
And
the
then
assignment.
I don't know what I'm.
No, because the speaking assignment requires to know about your work environment, who you are, where you work, and what is the age group you work with, the target group. But that's the same for everybody because it's the same question to everybody. Now, for you, that's individual. You see? Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll see all that now. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for that today. First, I want to clarify the first assignment. And for those that are new and those who did not get it or understand it the last time, I just want to make things clearer. Let me establish the order, please. First, we have Clara Diaz. She raised her hand. Then we have Eli Diaz, who raised her hand too. Basically, go ahead.
Okay.
Sure. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's my
My first question is.
I'm sorry, Clara. Eli, ladies first, please. Ladies first, and remember, she has your last name. She's Diaz.
Okay.
She is Diaz, just like you. She's Clara Diaz. You are Eli Diaz. You see? I don't know if you're from Santiago but you have to be like those in Santiago. You have to be a gentleman. Ladies first. Go ahead, Clara.
Thanks, teacher. Okay, my first question is, when I try to join my task, okay, I did already my introduction.
Right.
And I sent already my first task, but when I link the plus sign,
Yes.
I never see the icons.
Let's see. Hold on. Let me show you something. And this is important for everybody because I know some of you have already done it, but it's always useful to fully understand and review. Let me show you again. For example, now turn off your microphone, please. Put your microphone in mute, please, now. Thank you. Let me show you. When you go to the Padlet, somebody has okay, let me mute it again. You see, that's one example. Please, as soon as you finish speaking, turn off your microphone, please. Don't leave your microphone on. You need to learn dynamically how to do that. If you speak, then when you finish, just turn off your microphone. Again, you go to the Padlet, for example. You go to the group you want to work with, for example, group 1, 2, 3. When you click on your group, then you have this.
The 3, teacher, 3 is my one.
Anyone. This is the same for everybody. When you click on group number 3, for example, you see here, you have to click on the plus sign. When you click on it, you have this screen. This screen has an arrow. You see where the red arrow is? Then you click on the red arrow right there next to it. And then you have this screen that says, pick a file from your computer by dragging it here or by clicking the button below. Then you click on pick a file, and then you have to find that file in your computer. I recommend that you record your work in your desktop because it's easier to pick from your desktop and it's easier to find a file. If you complete the file, but then you save the file, let's say on a hard disk, on somewhere, on any folder, it's going to be hard to find. So I recommend when you do work, save your work on your desktop so that you can always find it easily. You see, because it's easy to do, but it's just a matter of handling where you save your files. Let me give you all one advice. Create a folder on your desktop and name that folder assignments. And then you are going to put all your work in that folder, but put the folder on your desktop. Don't put it on a hard disk. Don't put it on a hidden folder because it's hard to find. And you want to find it easily. Something else, you need a computer for this. Of course, you can't do it from a cell phone or tablet. So again, you need a computer. Okay, great. So this comment is not for Clara. This comment is for everybody because everybody, literally hundreds of messages asking the same question. Everybody, because it's the first time you are using Padlet. But that is part of the learning curve. The next person is Mr. Diaz and then Wilfredo Santana. Mr. Eli Diaz, go ahead, and then Wilfredo.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Teacher, my question is the next. I want to know if it's necessary to wait the instruction for every assignment, or we can work in any time.
No, I don't recommend doing that. Very good question. I'm gonna please turn off your microphone, Eli. Thank you.
Thank you.
Say hi to your child for me. Again, I'm going to recommend everybody to just take class and then do the assignment, because this program is not about compliance. I'm going to say it again. The objective of this program is not to complete homework. The objective of this program is not about completion. It's about learning. It's about performance. So let's focus first on paying attention to class. Something I recommend is that you take notes. You should have a pad or a notebook next to you during class sessions and take notes. Not just to remember something, but just to keep ideas and then research later. Either I or Professor Dr. Laura Backer, we are going to say things that you might be interested in. And then don't trust your memory. Take notes. I mean, adult learning requires note-taking. Note-taking is key in adult learning. So I recommend that you take notes, please, all the time. So the answer to that, Ellie, is that you don't need to go ahead. You go one assignment at a time and focus all your attention, because we are not interested in your completion of work. We are interested in your learning. And you don't have to go any further or any fast. Wilfredo Santana.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much, Juan Valdez. First of all, hello to Conrado Sanchez. We were together in a TESFLO program from Nova Southeastern University. I'm so excited to be here sharing with you some interesting experience. I hope to get to improve my skills, my English skills. And I recommend all of you to practice and to look the way to get to to develop or to increase our skills, because you give what you get. And
absolutely, that's the idea.
Many public teachers don't have the skills. It is sad to say that, and it's so complicated, but so difficult. But we are living the reality.
That's it, Wilfredo. The idea here, Wilfredo, if I may, please. This course is about learning.
Learning, yes.
So I know some people are afraid to do this program because they feel that their English is not the best. That is not the point. If you want your English, your comprehension, your teaching to improve, this is how you do it.
Yes.
The reason why, I don't know if you are familiar with the term plateau. The thing about English teachers in public schools is that they have very little chance for practice and growth, because you're always surrounded by students who don't know the language and teachers who don't speak English. So then you get into linguistic fossilization. And the best way to improve your teaching, your comprehension, your speaking, everything, is by participating in a challenging experience. And this is it. We have to go ahead now, please. So I'm going to ask Lisbeth Diaz and Jomaira Ortiz to go ahead. Thank you, Wilfredo.
Okay.
Jomaira and Lisbeth, please go ahead so that we can continue. Jomaira first.
Hello.
Go ahead, Jomaira. Yes, of course.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. I didn't know that I was belonging to group 7 until last class. Before that, I posted my homework in group 2. Do I have to erase from group 2?
No, not at all. Again, okay. I'm going to say it for everybody. Thank you, Jomaira.
Okay.
There are 8 people in this program, 8 instructors. There's Dr. Laura Backer. There are 7 instructors in the University of New York. They review any work that is posted, regardless of the group, regardless of the person. So don't worry. This course is not about completing homework again, and they are going to review it. What you will get from this course is what you do, not what we correct. Correction is part of our verification to improve your program, but do not feel anxious about not completing this or that piece of work, because now you will have time. The reason why I'm having this presentation today is because I want to make sure that beginning next week, next Monday's class, everything is right on schedule and everybody is clear on what they have to do, how they have to do it, and that you feel comfortable and you feel secure that you can do it. This course is for everybody, and you can do it. The only way to grow professionally is taking part in challenges like this. So next, please. Janet.
Yeah,
Hi.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I just want to say something about the homework. And you might say, yeah, and because everybody I've seen them asking about the homework. And the thing is that sometimes we have to erase our hard disk because we're just thinking about homeworks and assignments. Because I remember that last year we were all the time like completing homeworks and assignments from Digital Republic. So that's maybe we're a little bit anxious. So we have to erase or delete our hard disk and think about only learning, not completing homework, even though we do it.
Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah, that's why maybe we have little homeworks in order for us to learn, to focus on learning and not completing.
You know that I direct different institutions in this country. I direct an international bilingual school. I direct professional training systems. I direct the Dominican Education Observatory. And then I work with teachers internationally. And whenever they ask me in interviews why Dominican education fails, the only thing that comes to my mind is that this education system is more focused on compliance than it is on performance. And that is a good example, as Lisbeth just said now. The Digital Republic project was a total failure. República Digital, a total failure, a theft, a robbery of Dominican money, and lots of compliance and very little performance. Why? Because it only focused on bureaucratic affairs like that. So in my case, I am focused on one single goal: making Dominican public schools bilingual eventually. I know that's going to take years, but you are the foundation. And this course is part of the foundation for that. I don't expect teachers to know anything. I only expect teachers to be open to learning and to be willing to grow and to have the intellectual humility to understand that this is the era of lifelong learning and that we grow and we learn every day. No matter how much you think you know, there's much more you don't know in life. So there's always room for improvement. And you're talking to someone who has been in the field for 32 years. And I keep learning and studying every day because I will never learn as much as I need to. So that's the spirit. That's the attitude we should have. And that's what I expect from you. You have no idea how many times the University of New York and I planned this program, and it was always rejected. It was never approved. Now you are the lucky ones. Use this. Carmen Abreu, please, go ahead. Turn on your microphone, Carmen.
There. Okay. My question is, for example, about the system. If I have class today, sometimes you send me the
assignment.
The assignment, for example, to put present, to fill the assignment. So I had to do it before the class start, or I can do it the same day?
No, let me show you again. Let me show you again how this program works. How this program works. Let me show you. And that's for everybody again.
It's not.
No, let me explain you, please. Let me explain you.
Sorry.
All the content all the material for this course is in the Padlet account.
Yes.
The Padlet form has everything. The pre-experience questionnaire, the schedule, all the presentations are even recorded here and you can download them. There's the assignments, everything is here. Now, when you go to one of the groups, you will find the assignments. You click on the assignment and then you can download it and complete it and save it because it's in Word format. When you do it, if you want to upload it, just click on the arrow. Here's a step, you can upload it and that's it. But the point is that everything is here in the Padlet account. All the material, all your homework, everything you need to know and everything you need to do is here. You see? So that's
okay. And how about when for example, when I have the classes and I can do I can put present, I can fill the
way to mark you present is by the recording. We record all the classes and we print a report. We know what time you enter class and what time you finish and what time you leave. Okay. Because we record classes and we print, for example, we have the report of the last 3 classes. We know who participated, what time you entered, and what time you left class. Because in Zoom, we can print an attendance report and we have your report. By logging in, you are just participating and you're just being in the attendance report.
Thank you.
If I may continue, if anybody, well, only Maciel Leon has one final question. Go ahead, Maciel.
Yes, good afternoon, Professor Valdez, and good afternoon, everyone. In order of what you were saying about Dominican education, I post in the chat that I completely agree with you, but we need something in order to get there where we want to be. And is that English teacher has the freedom to teach, for example, to apply all of these planning strategies that we're learning here, to apply it into our classrooms, because we're the ministry is like it's like a jail. You understand me?
I do.
The way we clarify our classes, I'm always frustrated about that.
But we're here to help, Maciel. Don't worry.
Yes,
believe me.
When our supervisors come to check our classes, we must how can I say that? We must be into that jail they put us.
I know. Don't worry. Maciel,
our classes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's what we've been fighting against. Don't worry, Maciel, because I understand your point. Do not worry.
Okay.
It is not, I mean, no one has done more research on English language teaching and learning in public schools than me. And I know exactly what you're going through. I know what the problems are in the system, and this program is part of a solution to that. But that is not going to change overnight, Maciel. First, we need teachers to be empowered, to be well-trained, and we'll address that. In fact, what we have proposed to the Dominican government is a totally different approach for English language lessons in public schools. But we as professionals of education need to continue our professional development regardless of what the system is like, because we as individuals need to grow, but we'll do it. But again, we can't change overnight a system that has been disrupted for over 60 years. So let's just focus on this now, if I may. Finally, thank you. Esmirna Peña, I guess, she raised her hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. I feel released.
No, don't worry. Believe me, we know the drill. We're getting there. Smarling Peña, go ahead. And then I have to continue after Smarling because we have a lot to do today. Smarling, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, Smarling.
Oh, good evening.
Yes.
And I'm happy to be here. It's a good opportunity. And I want to say that I know In the WhatsApp group, yeah.
Right. You are not. Oh, don't worry. We are. If anybody in this class session is not in one of the 4 WhatsApp groups, please write to me in private, and I will fix it tonight. Thank you for that. Because some of you are new. You have no idea what I have gone through in the last 3 weeks. I've spent more than 16 hours a day calling over 700 people. And they, for some reason, included people who were not English teachers. And I had to call hundreds of people who are not English teachers. And it's insane. But now things are going to run smoothly. Let's just focus on that. I'm going to now continue my presentation. And if you have any more questions, please hold those questions for the end of my presentation. And again, we will be able to talk. Can we do that? Okay. Let's just then now try to go ahead. Vidal, Francisca, we will talk to you at the end. Okay? Please. I know you want to say something. We have Vidal, Marlene, Maciel, Francisca. Okay. But in the meantime, let's continue so that maybe I can clear out your questions and doubts as I go through. However, let's continue now. I see many people who don't have their cameras on. And again, I will insist, it is a requirement of this program to have your camera on in the course. I will appreciate your help in please having your cameras on. Thank you. And again, remember that microphones must be kept on mute. Okay, let me then continue because I just want to make sure all of you take advantage of this program and that we can just go ahead. Okay, let's just go ahead then. Again, online etiquette, your camera on, your microphones on mute, be on time, prepare for class, be fully present, be active, join the breakout rooms when asked to. Okay, good evening, everyone. Now it's time to begin the review of modules 1 and 2 and to do some reflections on our assignments for the past 2 units of class. The first module of the program was an introduction and conditions for language learning online. This program is basically about language learning on a distance education model, in particular online. And what we are going to do is to review the concepts, strategies, ideas for improving language learning online. Now, what do we know about effective online instruction by now? Internationally, what is accepted and what is believed about effective online learning? Well, first, in terms of synchronous e-learning, a shared environment allows multiple students that is, to collaborate on discussions with text and drawings. An effective online instruction model requires a shared environment. In this case, a shared whiteboard. If you don't have a shared environment, you can't actually have an effective online instruction program in English. Something else that is believed to be required is virtual classrooms. I mean, you need to be able to broadcast in real time to remote students over an internet connection. And of course, something else is scheduled online examinations. So my question is, do you have all these or any of these for teaching English in Dominican Public Schools? Because if we're going to have effective online instruction in English, you definitely need synchronous e-learning that contains at least these 3 basic requirements. In terms of asynchronous e-learning, we need to have message boards. You see, courses are augmented with message boards, allowing learners to post questions and comments on a central board for other users to see. Another requirement is discussion groups. Going one step further than message boards, discussion groups allow students in the same course to discuss the material in real time. And thirdly, self-paced content. This is content that can be completed at your own pace. There may be assignments and checkpoints along the way, but there are no deadlines for completion. So this is what is believed to be effective online instruction. But my question then would be, how much of this do we actually have in Dominican Public Schools for English language lessons? Now, the core elements of effective online classes are the following three. Again, please, someone just muted. Just mute your microphone, please. I'm gonna mute it again. Okay, I insist, please, keep your microphones muted when you join class or when you talk. We have someone with their microphone on, please. Let me just, okay. Okay. Excuse me, because we had someone interrupting. Again, the core elements of effective online classes are the following. First, trust. How do you establish trust? Well, you need a social presence. Your students need to have interpersonal relationships, and there must be an allowance for group collaboration. I mean, without group collaboration and interpersonal relationships online, it is impossible to have effective English language learning online. Something else that is required is teacher presence for facilitation and to help students focus. That is, teachers serve the purpose of guidance. If we don't have teachers that can guide students online and facilitate material explanations and work and get students to focus, then you can't have online classes that are effective. Next, we have cognitive presence. The thing here is constructing meaning and reflecting on learning, and that is a challenge. I mean, if we want our students to really construct language learning online and reflect on learning, there must be cognitive presence. That is, we need a challenge. Students are supposed to construct meaning and to reflect on their own learning when they are learning online. Now, again, social presence, teacher presence, and cognitive presence are the core elements of effective online classes. And I'm talking about English language learning, foreign language learning online. Then I would then proceed to ask the following. Before we get to that, the 7 language task essentials are safety and trust, authenticity, information gap, meaning-focused activities, form awareness, game-like and fun, and feedback. If you are designing tasks for language learning online, you need to keep in mind that these tasks must be safe and trustworthy. I mean, students must feel safe and trust that they can participate in the activity or do the activity. The activity must always be authentic. Don't just assign a pronunciation or a conjugation homework on conjugating the verb to be in third person, because that's not authentic communication. The activity should always serve to fill an information gap, what students don't know and need to learn. It must be focused on meaning, not only, again, on compliance. The form must be also accessible and comprehensible. You have to be aware of the form, you design it and present it. It must always be fun. I mean, no one does activities online that are not fun. So for that, gamification and game-like activities are very important. And any activity you assign online must always provide feedback. Without feedback, activities make no sense because students feel they are doing activities for nothing because they're not getting any feedback again. So when you design any task online, you need to keep in mind these 7 essentials. Now, we will have now some time for reflection on this. How quantitative have these factors been for the students in your region in the current school year? Think about all these factors and think about your classes in public schools. All of these factors are necessary for effective English language learning online. Your synchronous classes must contain a whiteboard, virtual classrooms. You must have the capability to schedule online examinations. Asynchronous learning must provide message boards, discussion groups, self-paced courses. The 7 essentials of safety and trust, authenticity, information gap, meaning focus activities, form awareness, game-like fun, feedback. All these are essential for effective language learning online. And of course, the core is teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. So my question for reflection for you, I'll give you a few seconds. Based on this information, based on these foundations of effective English language teaching online, how qualitative have your classes been for this school year? And I'm talking about you in particular in your region. Have you filled out? Have you completed? Have you complied or fulfilled these requirements? Any of them, some of them, all of them? Do your students actually have social presence, cognitive presence, teacher presence? Do their classes contain all these factors? And now, in order to do that, what I'm going to do is to divide you, and we're going to have a discussion. You're going to discuss in groups, and you are going to designate one spokesperson at the end of your discussion to present your conclusions. Remember, you need to keep in mind that you have to associate this to your reality, not to ideals. Based on your experience in this school year, how qualitative have these factors been for the students in your region in the current school year? Social presence, teacher presence, cognitive presence. I am now going to divide you in 8 groups, so pay attention. The groups are going to be divided by regionals. It all depends on the regional of education where you live and work. Breakout room number 1 will accommodate teachers from regionals 1, 2, and 3. San Juan, Barahona, Azua, Padre Las Casas, San Jose de Ocoa, Baní, Pedernales. All the teachers from that region will be in breakout room number 1. Breakout room number 2 will be for regionals 4 and 5. Teachers from regionals 4 and 5 will be together now in breakout room number 2. Breakout room number 3 will be for the teachers from regionals 6 and 7. Breakout room number 4 will accommodate the teachers from regionals 8 and 9. Breakout room number 5 will be for regionals 11 and 12. And breakout room number 6 will be for teachers from regionals 13 and 14. Breakout room number 7 for the teachers for regionals 15 and 16. And breakout room number 8 will be for the teachers on regionals 17 and 18. Remember, when I open the breakout rooms, you need to click join on the breakout room that corresponds to your session. Okay? They are the teachers. Did you take notes? Because I'm going to open the breakout rooms next. And remember what you are going to discuss. You are going to discuss and reflect on this question. How qualitative have all these factors been for the students in your region in the current school year? And I am asking about these factors: synchronous learning, asynchronous learning, essentials for language learning, teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. How qualitative have these been? Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open the breakout rooms. And what I need you to do is to basically go to the breakout rooms that I assigned you. One question. Were you able to take notes? I hope you took notes on the different breakout rooms, because there are 8 breakout rooms, and here we go. Now I am opening them. One thing, teachers from regional number 10 will stay here. Teachers from regional 10, stay with me. The other teachers go to the breakout rooms that I assigned. The only teachers that will stay here are teachers from regional 10. Now I am opening the rooms. You can go. Click on the room for the regional that I suggested. Remember your breakout room. Here are the breakout rooms you need to join. Go ahead. Depending on your regional 1, 2, and 3, breakout room 1. Regional 4 and 5, breakout room 2. Click join. Regional number 3, breakout room, regional number 6 and 7, breakout room number 3. Regionals 8 and 9, breakout room number 4. Regionals 11 and 12, breakout room number 5. Regionals 13 and 14, breakout room number 6. Regionals 15 and 16, breakout room number 7. And regionals 17 and 18, breakout room number 8. Please continue. Click on the breakout room for your region. Go ahead, please. I'll be waiting. Regional 10, give me a few minutes. Go ahead. Choose the breakout room for your session, please. Go ahead, continue. Continue, please, so that we can talk to the people here. Remember, you have to click join in the room that corresponds to you. Again, breakout room number 1 for regionals 1, 2, and 3. Teachers from regionals 1, 2, and 3. Breakout room number 2 for the teachers from regionals 4 and 5. Breakout room number 3 for the teachers from regionals 6 and 7. And the question is, how qualitative have these factors been for the students in your region in the current school year? Go ahead, please. We have many teachers still unassigned. Please go to your breakout room. Breakout room number 8 is for the teachers from regional 17 and 18. Breakout room number 7 for the teachers from regionals 15 and 16. Breakout room number 6 for the teachers for 13 and 14. Breakout room number 5 for the teachers from regionals 11 and 12. Breakout room number 4 for the teachers from regionals 8 and 9. Breakout room number 3 for the teachers from regionals 6 and 7. Breakout room number 2 for the teachers in regionals 4 and 5. And breakout room number 1 for the teachers in regionals 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I will stay here with regional number 10. Okay, anybody here who is not from regional number 10? If you are not, please join the corresponding breakout room because you can do it now, please. Join your breakout room and then you'll be able to do it, please. If anybody is having any trouble joining their virtual room, you are?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't see my room.
Are you using a cell phone or a computer?
A computer.
Because you should be able to see the screen. Click on the screen. Maybe you can minimize your screen because the thing is about your computer, because I have almost 150 teachers who went to the rooms.
Let me check.
Yeah, please just click on the different screens, minimize your main screen, and that may be the issue. Because I have almost everybody. I only have 60 out of 200 and
Teacher
some here.
Valdez, excuse me.
Yes, go ahead, Yvette.
I'm from cell phone. I can.
Okay, if you have a cell phone, it's not a problem. You stay here with me. Okay, it's okay. It's no problem. If you could not join a room, it's okay. You can stay here with me because you can discuss the issue with me. However,
Okay.
however, please, you need to learn how to switch to breakout rooms, okay? Go online later on YouTube and take a tutorial on how to switch to breakout rooms in Zoom, please. Okay, but now you can stay with me. It's not a problem. You can stay
Teacher.
here because, yes.
I don't see my breakout group, and I select mine. I select mine, but I don't see the group.
It's okay then. Stay here with me. It's okay. You can stay here. All of you stay here with me. Now we are going to discuss this question, and I would like you to raise your hand to basically give me your personal answer. Now, based on your experience, look at the screen. Based on your experience this year with your students.
Teacher, may I suggest something?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
I got it now.
Go ahead.
The groups are in a, we have the chat, how to pair our computer, and then you are going to see four
dots,
four squares, and you are going to click on that
squares
picture, and you are going to find the groups. Now I got it.
Okay, yeah, because you have to see the menu down there.
Yeah.
Yes, it's okay. It's a learning curve. It's a learning process. So if you are, which regional are you from? Melissa. Seems like she's gone to her group now. Okay, good. Now let's continue then. The task at hand for us now is basically based on these principles, because that's what I want to reflect upon. I just want to know exactly, based on these principles, how much of this were you able to do on this school year that just finished? How much teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence was there in your teaching English on this school year that was on a distance learning model? Francisca, go ahead. Francisca, raise her hand.
Good evening.
Turn on your mic. Go ahead.
I really raised my hand before.
I'm sorry, it's okay then.
To give you okay, but anyway, I'm gonna give my comment about this. I could work synchronous and asynchronous. I could have synchronous class with my students. All the time I was assigned asynchronous too. I left the students the homeworks or the exercises in a platform named Edmodo. Yes, in my school, decided to choose that platform to work with the students. But I want you to know that it was very difficult for me.
My question for you would be then, you used Edmodo. My question is, how qualitative was it in terms of teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence? Let's go one by one. For example, in terms of social presence, how much interpersonal communication was there in your class? Among your students or between you and your students? Interpersonal communication.
No, I didn't have social presence among my students. I think that when you say among the students, social presence is what you are doing now, that you
that
into different groups. I don't know how to do that.
Not only that, for example,
but I didn't work with them in a live class. I didn't work with them in group, but outside the class, you know?
Okay, so it was asynchronous.
Yes, okay. I got them to work in group by doing video.
Okay.
And then they send them to Edmodo. Or
that was all.
Or to what we are used to name Google Drive, to Google Drive.
But
yes.
Interpersonal communication, social presence, cognitive presence, in terms of that, I can tell from what you're telling me that it was very limited. Thank you, Francisca, very much. Danielis, please go ahead.
Teacher, but remember,
yes.
Excuse me, remember
Yes,
that I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
About this?
At the end, you said
okay, go ahead. Yes, at the end.
To give us
yes, of course. Don't worry. You will have time for your questions at the end. Do not worry. We have Danielis, Doris Bell. They have raised their hands. First Danielis and then Doris Bell. Keep in mind what I asked you. Huh? My question is, how qualitative were your classes in terms of social presence, cognitive presence? How were they? I mean, go ahead, Danielis.
Yes, thank you. In the first part, teacher presence, according to the question, in my case, I think the teacher, like me, in my case, were all the time connect with the students. So it was really good in one term, but in the other, like we all know, connection, internet connection for students. That was a fail. That was
one question, Danielis. One question. Yeah. You were talking about teacher presence.
Yeah.
Teacher presence implies two factors: facilitation and focusing. How much and how were you able to facilitate learning in terms of teacher presence in that model?
Yeah.
How?
Can I say, okay, how? Well, I mean, you want me to tell you actions I did, or?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you said you had, you said you had pretty much teacher presence. My question about that is, how much were you able to facilitate learning and get your students focused like that?
Well, in many manners and ways, like I used to synchronous classes and asynchronous, WhatsApp group, Moodle, and where else?
Okay, before you go ahead, Danielis, did you feel that your students developed reading, writing, listening, and speaking skills?
Well, maybe not 100%, but I used to use a WhatsApp group to work with the reading part. So in the platform, I used to work the speaking, and in the WhatsApp, I tried, but it was kind of difficult. The reality, I'm telling the truth.
No, not only that, I'm talking about performance, because again, I insist in education, there's a big gap between compliance and performance.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have WhatsApp, Edmodo, Zoom, but that's the compliance part. My point, because most people forget that education is about learning.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about learning. After all, with the platforms, with the materials, how much learning was there? That's why it talks about teacher presence. It talks about social presence, but above all, the key here is cognitive presence. How much cognition was actually developed?
But if you ask me, I'm going to say, well, at 80%, but you know that the numbers say that.
And your students, what would they say?
Well, according to the grades, if we talk about the grades, I could say like an 80%. But
in terms of actual learning?
Yeah, about they learn, about what they learn.
What grades do you teach, Danielis?
The first level of secondary.
You're talking about first grade high school?
Yeah.
That's seventh grade in traditional terms. Okay, very well. Thank you, Danielis. Doris Bell Perez, go ahead.
Yes.
What is your response to that question?
Good evening, everybody. In my case, some of them we were working with synchronic by Google Meet, by Zoom too, and we prepare a carpet with different topic and vocabulary and talk to them that go to school with their mom and all sending with their mom. Some of them were there.
You mean a portfolio? You prepared sort of a portfolio?
Yeah, a portfolio, okay. Exactly. And they prepare in group. I divided them in group in order to prepare some video about all of things that we are happening with the virus.
Right.
I told to them to choose a province also and talk about the province. They were divided in group too.
Doris Bell, my question would be, how much learning, you could use a percentage if you want, how much learning do you think there actually was in these?
Like 80%.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's see, we have Maria Hilario, Arelis Gil, and then finally to finish, Esther Perez. In that order, please. Go ahead, Maria.
Hello, good evening, teacher.
Hello, teacher. I'm so sorry. I was getting in trouble with my audio on my computer. They were listening to me, but I couldn't hear them.
Yeah, it's okay, Maria. Now, thank you very much for joining us. We are going to proceed with Maria Hilario to answer the question, then Arelis and Esther. Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. Okay, you can mute your mic now. Again, Maria, I'm gonna post again the question so that we have a clear idea. My question is, how qualitative have these factors been in terms of your students' learning in your case, in your region? How much teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence was there this school year with your students? Go ahead.
Teacher presence. You know, teacher, that every student learns to different ways. So I try to use different tools that they learn. For example, YouTube, Kahoot, Quizy, Word.
But in terms of, let's focus on the question. In terms of teacher presence, how much were you able to facilitate and focus your students?
How much?
Let me make it simpler. Were you actually able to respond to your students' questions and needs and provide clarification, interaction?
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay, always. Great.
We have interactions, explain different topic, and
one question, Maria: how much teacher talking time versus student talking time was there? Was there more teacher talking time, or was there more student talking time when you had the chance to interact with them?
It depends.
But in general.
It depends the topic, because the student, we had interactions.
Okay, very well. Arelis Gil now. Thank you, Maria. Arelis, and then Esther, and then we close for the others to come. Go ahead, Arelis.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to me be here. Well, I was not working directly this year, but last year I did. And I can say that teacher presence was like 70%, because I really tried to do my best. But it's kind of hard, because when I have to interact with the students, it was sometimes more that teacher talking than student talking, because I have to explain over and over, because it was something new for them. They were not in that context. That was something new for them. So it was more teacher talking than student talking. I say that the student was like 40% that they really learned. Some of them, not all of them, because we have to be serious and say the truth.
And in terms of social presence, Arelis, how much connection do you feel there was among your students and between you and your students?
It was like 45%, because they have not the gadget to do their jobs. So it was kind of hard. Sometimes they were complaining because they had to use their their parents' telephone. And it was so hard. They have no internet connection. It was like 45. I can say that it was 45, no more than that.
It's important to understand this. If there is not enough teacher presence and social presence, there cannot be good cognitive presence.
No, of course
because
not.
There's no way to develop. People forget, again, that the whole thing here is about learning.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about actual learning. I'm not talking about effort. I am talking about performance.
They were not learning at the way that I was expecting, that I wanted. They were not. They were not. They were
Thank
not.
you, Annalise. Esther, let's just finish with Esther because we have a lot more to do now. Esther?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say that actually we need the presence soon, because for me, this kind of teaching, let's say, like virtual teaching, has been something for me not good at all. We have, for example, in our school, I don't know, being honest with you, what is the correct pronunciation? Synchronous.
Asynchronous.
Both of them, synchronous and asynchronous.
Right.
We have all of that.
Yes.
And for example, in my case, I teach English, and we just have teacher presence. They with me just once a week.
I know.
And then the other days, asynchronous. Asynchronous to leaving the posting the classes in Google Classroom and the same.
Yes.
So for me, no, we don't have the sufficient, teacher presence, the cognitive,
social presence.
Not enough. No.
Not enough. All right, that's a very good thing.
Enough.
That's a very good thing to know. I can tell you some. Yeah, go ahead.
I do really agree with you, totally, teacher, because in our country we need more than we are doing.
No, and honestly, I've always said, Esther, that teachers are not the problem.
Yes, and to do so, the government needs to invest.
I know. But again, you know what? Yes. The thing is, it's about a vision. Because again, in my professional opinion, my technical opinion, learning is a science, education is a science. And most measures forget that this is about learning. This is not about compliance. This is not about equipment. This is not about software. This is not about internet. This is actually about the nature of learning. Then I am now, in order to conclude this question, I am welcoming everybody back because everybody's now coming back from their breakout rooms. And now, one by one, I'm going to ask one spokesperson from every group to express their conclusions. Okay? Now that we are coming back, everybody's coming back. Now, okay, give me just 1 second, please, to organize everybody. Everybody's just going back to their group. And before we continue, okay, everybody back here? Okay. All right. I'm sure you can hear me now. Now that everybody's back, please mute your microphones because I'm going to ask you one by one on the groups based on the different regionals what your conclusions are. Okay? Now, I asked you to designate a spokesperson for each group. Now, breakout room number 1, regionals. Before we continue, please, those who have raised their hands, just lower your hands for a minute, please, because now we will ask the others what their conclusions are in a few words. Teachers from regionals 1 2, and 3 from breakout room 1? Do you have a spokesperson? Someone who can actually give all the answers? Now, that person, you can unmute yourself and give us the answer. Give us your answer. Anybody from group breakout room number 1, regionals 1, 2, and 3? Please turn on your microphone now and give us your answer, your comment. How effective were your classes this year in terms of this criteria? No one from regional 1, 2, and 3? Group 1? Okay, then let's proceed to group number 2. Please turn off your microphones. Thank you. Anybody from group breakout room number 2, regionals 4 and 5? Do we have a spokesperson to give their opinion on how qualitative these factors have been for your students? No one for regionals 4 and 5. Okay, regionals 6 and 7, group number 3. Would you like to express your conclusions? Nobody. Let's see. Okay, can you actually hear me? Because I'm expecting groups to give their conclusions. Turn on your microphones if you can hear me, and let's see.
We weren't.
I'm sorry, what was that? Josiah, please turn on your microphone.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay. We weren't able to turn on our mics, and maybe the other groups wanted to participate.
Okay, but let's see. Hold on. I want to make sure everybody's able to turn on their mics because I actually enabled it, and it says okay here. It says allow participants to unmute themselves. It's okay. Josiah, which groups do you represent? Regionals?
My God.
Go ahead.
Number 3. Okay. Okay. Regional 6 in my case.
Yes, go ahead.
I was group number 3.
Okay, so what are your conclusions?
That this year was a mess.
What do you mean?
For example, some of the students didn't have a device to connect. Most of them actually. Others are from the countryside and didn't have connection, not good internet. Or they didn't have the resources to connect. Others had to work. For example, those from 5th or 6th grade high school, they are like 16, 17, 18 years old, and they had to work, so they weren't able to be in classes. They didn't do the homeworks in classroom. Some of the computers got, some of the ones got computers, but they got damaged before even the classes started.
So what you're telling me is that there was no actual social presence, teacher presence, and cognitive presence, because if there's no communication, if there's no means, there's no end.
So it was only through WhatsApp, and they had Google Classroom, but they didn't do the assignments there. They were assigned to watch the TV programs on YouTube and follow the teacher's instructions.
Okay, very well. Okay, I am asking everyone, I'm trying to fix the microphone problem. I hope now it is working. Now, I'm gonna ask everybody, please, if you're not presenting, if you're not a spokesperson, turn off your microphones, please. Okay, please turn off your microphones. I'm gonna mute everybody because I have people who have their microphones on. Please turn off your microphones. Okay, if you have an answer from group, again, regionals 1, 2, 3. Hector, go ahead. Hector Alvarez.
All right. I belong to the group 4, number 4.
Regionals?
Region 8 and 9.
Go ahead.
Exactly. We discuss about advantage and disadvantages. So for advantage, we talk about the challenge that the student had in this school years because they didn't know how to use the technology, and now they are able to use the technology and to upload the classes and to talk about the class, to participate in the class.
But one question, Hector, one question, because again, we're talking about teacher presence, social presence, and cognitive presence. In terms of cognitive presence, which is actually learning, my question is, was there or not quality learning this school year in terms of learning, which is cognitive presence? Was there or was there not?
Yes, in cognitive, that's the point. They learn a lot because they didn't know about the use of technology. And
no, but I'm not talking about learning about technology, Hector. Remember, our role is English language learning. Again, my question again. And I love your answer. I love your comment. I don't know if you have seen my presentation on digitalization and learning. My presentation and my point is pedagogy before technology. My point is the following. I'm not asking whether kids have access to internet or access to a device. My question is there, was there learning, English language learning, reading, writing, listening, and speaking? Were they able to learn what they were supposed to? And I believe they were not. Because if you're telling me that you have a device, but you don't even have a digital book, you don't have a follow-up software, you don't have anyone interacting with you, giving you feedback, it's really hard to do that. Don't you think, Hector?
All right. Now, the point is that we didn't agree about the topics because we discussed about advantage and disadvantage of this school year.
And what was the conclusion?
I wasn't the host because I raised my hand.
Your point of view was the last school year advantages or disadvantages?
Both. Advantages.
No. Wait a minute. It's either advantages or disadvantages. One of the two.
Generally,
advantageous year, or was it not?
Generally, advantages.
It was advantages.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we have Loide. Loide has raised her hand. I guess she represents regional 3 and 4, I guess.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, we were discussing about the essential elements for asynchronous or asynchronous class, and we don't have that in our classes.
Okay.
We don't have a message board, even though we have a WhatsApp group. And like Morvana was saying, we make the classes, we put the assignments on classroom, but the students don't enter, don't log on. So
they don't log into it, right?
Yeah. So my question is, how can we have a quality learning if we don't have the essential elements for e-learning?
That's the point. I mean, the point is that you did not have it. Not only that, many people were encouraged to use WhatsApp for teaching. WhatsApp is not a teaching tool for teaching languages. WhatsApp is a very limited app because what most people forget is that our field is the field of foreign language teaching and learning. And they forget the nature. Listen to this very carefully. I am talking about the nature of language and the nature of learning. If there is no interaction, there is no guidance, there is no social presence, regardless of the devices that you may use, there will be no cognitive presence because it is about learning. It is about developing listening, reading, writing, and speaking skills.
Yeah, it is.
It's not just sending an exercise, Conrado, to one of your students, like getting your students, here's a text you have to complete. That is no language development. There is no language development in an exercise like that. You may comply. Yeah, Conrado?
Yeah, even though we as a teacher, most of us were engaged. We must, most of the time, have a good teacher presence. But it's not about what we want to do. It's about what do we have to do. Because, you know.
Not you, what your students have.
Exactly.
Because I'm gonna make it even simpler. Let me break it simpler for you. You have your computers, you have your tablets, you have the internet. But my question is, how much interaction can you actually create online in the Dominican Republic? And interaction is not about the software. Interaction is about creating a link, paving the way, creating empathy, commitment. Were you able to commit your students to do their work, to hold interactions with their peers? No. Why? Because that requires social presence. And because you have no way to follow up on whatever your students are doing. And because there is not a culture of online learning on your students, not on you. So in my technical view, because we have to go ahead, there's so much we need to talk about before we go ahead. In my technical view, what I sustain is that this year, synchronous and asynchronous learning was totally ineffective. Why? Because that requires a profile, a student profile, a family profile, a school profile, not only resources. If I may conclude about this, it is really hard for teachers to facilitate learning. Let's focus on teacher presence, for example. If there is no attention and no involvement, there is no way to facilitate learning, because learning requires attention. And if you cannot grasp your students' attention in class, there's no way you facilitate learning. And there's no way you will get them to focus. So the first thing you need to guarantee is that your students are connected and attentive. And there's no way to do that in WhatsApp, for example.
No, it's what Arely said before. Arely said that most of the time it was teacher talking time because students were not allowed to be connected or were not allowed to be paying attention.
But not only able, Conrado, it is not that they were not able. Some of them were not even willing to connect.
Exactly.
It's about willingness. I mean, they say, I'm not going to connect. I don't want to connect. I don't have to connect.
Yeah. And for example, the first classes in the morning from 8 to the classes will start at 8. Most of the time, our students were like sleepy. So
that's
why, most of the time they didn't open their cameras because they didn't want the teachers or the other students see their faces that they were sleeping already. So
and that is only for those who had access to a camera, because you're talking about
you can
an application like Zoom.
Yeah,
right. And that's a different. And believe me, those who had access to applications like Zoom were a minority, a real minority. The majority of teachers were only using WhatsApp. And that's an issue. In terms of social presence, interpersonal relationships decayed last year. And there was very little group collaboration because group collaboration required communication. And consequently, there was very little cognitive presence. It is really hard to construct meaning and reflect on learning if there is no social presence and no way teachers can get students focused to facilitate learning. So basically that's, in terms of that is what I could conclude. We have to continue. So I'm gonna ask your indulgence because we have to continue now. I have some other stuff to show you and I definitely should go ahead. But before we go ahead, I would like to conclude that last year, in terms of teacher presence, social presence and cognitive presence, it was not really good. I mean, at least in terms of English language teaching and learning, that if there's no interaction, there's no actual learning of a second or foreign language. All right, So that was basically this activity. Now, if I may, because you've been with me for 2 hours now, I would like us to take a break and listen to a beautiful song. Who was at the end of the video? Who was at the beginning of the video?
Me.
A teacher.
Teacher, yes, her mother. Could be her mother too.
Right. That's the point. That is the job. That is a job we actually are supposed to do. Help others grow, teach our kids the greatest love of all, and ourselves too as teachers, and be proud of our job as a teacher, our profession, and love what we do. And then also help kids learn something to love. Now,
there's an expression in the song.
What is it?
That calls me attention when he says that everybody search for a hero.
Right.
We as teachers, we are heroes because we transform.
Exactly. That's true. Now let's continue with the review. The second part of this program, the second module. Please, let's now turn our microphones off again. I hope you enjoyed the song. And the idea of the song is basically to relax a while so that we can get to the second part of tonight's class and to also reflect on what a teacher is supposed to do, what the job of a teacher is. Now, let's continue. The second module, for those who were not present last Monday, was about teaching speaking skills. And in this case, there are some key takeaways I'd like to discuss with you. What happens with English language teaching and learning in public schools? Well, remote teaching of English language as a foreign language actually poses many challenges for learners and teachers. And I have highlighted the expression English as a foreign language because there's a big difference between teaching English as a second language, which is where you live in a country where the language is spoken by everybody, and you are a foreigner who lives in that country, and for you that is going to be your second language. But when you teach English as a foreign language, which is the case of Dominican schools, you face many more challenges than you do in an English as a second language class. EFL is far more complex than ESL. When you start teaching in a public school, when you go to a class for the first time, the first thing students tell you is, teacher, yo no soy americano, no me hablan inglés. So teaching English as a foreign language it's far more complex because it's not just teaching a subject. You see, that's something we need to also keep in mind. So when it comes to teaching speaking, notice that when you want to know if somebody actually is an English speaker or knows how to speak English, you don't say, do you read English? Do you listen to English? Do you write English? No, you say, do you speak English? So speaking is a key skill in the mastery of a second or foreign language. However, when you want to get students to speak a language, not to read it, not to listen to it, or not to write in the language, is very different. But in this case, we're only talking about that skill, which is usually the hardest for our students to develop, speaking skills. I mean, people actually, there is a resistance, a cultural resistance to speaking English. There is an embarrassment. There is a cultural issue, and students are reluctant to speaking in English because they feel embarrassed. They feel that they will be humiliated. And of course, because they don't know much. So teaching speaking skills in public schools, especially because in this country, the level of English increases, not based on your actual knowledge, but based on the grade level you are in. So sometimes a teacher in, say, 10th grade is required to teach advanced English, like an A1, an A2, to students, teaching present perfect, teaching present progressive, teaching the past tense, people who don't even know basic English. And that is an issue, you see? That creates issues precisely when teaching speaking skills, especially. So that is why on our last class, when we talked about teaching speaking skills, I would like to highlight the most common things we need to keep in mind. So 4 key competences when teaching speaking skills. That is, first, the 4 elements in speaking competence is linguistic competence, which is the mechanics of the language. That implies pronunciation, grammar, and vocabulary, using the right words in the right order with comprehensible pronunciation. But there's also this course competence students need to learn, which is transaction and interaction. That is building meaningful connected thoughts based on the situation. There's also the social linguistic competence in speaking, which is about pragmatics, taking turns, overlapping, register. That is understanding the need to take into account the relative roles of participants and the context. And finally, strategic competence, that is repair, clarifying and extending interaction, knowing how to recognize and repair communication breakdowns before, during, and after they occur. So teaching speaking is far more complex than choral repetition, which is what most classes do. In terms of linguistic competence, we need to focus on pronouncing the distinctive sounds of a language clearly enough so that people can distinguish them. And these can be focused on sound production, processes, stress patterns, rhythm, and intonation. Using the correct forms of words, this may mean, for example, changes in the tense or agenda, putting words together in correct order, using vocabulary appropriately. And in terms of discourse competence, it is about making the main ideas stand out from supporting ideas or information, making discourse hang together so that people can follow what you are saying, connecting and creating an effect in the audience, making sure you are being followed and empathizing, using adjacency pairs, that is continuing on what somebody has said, recounting personal incidents and experiences, reacting to others, explaining a need or intention, describing something, justifying an opinion, making suggestions. All of these competences imply teaching speaking. So teaching speaking is far more complex, again, than repetition. Social linguistic competence implies opening and closing conversations correctly, choosing the right topics, making small talk, joking, using an appropriate style of speaking, interrupting, agreeing and disagreeing, using intonation to convey meaning, and interpreting and using indirect speech acts. A strategic competence, on the other hand, is about taking turns correctly, coping with insufficient language resources, coping with communication breakdowns, asking questions, asking for clarification, confirming information, back channel cues. So all of these are meant to be taught also in an online environment. So my point is that teaching speaking online is far more complex than it is in presential classes. Now, there are 5 principles for speaking. First of all, requiring speaking is number 1. That is, how is a task designed? If you want to design a right speaking task, you have to think about the task and the design of the task. That is, how is a task designed to push students' output? Is this best done in pairs with teacher leading? What will prevent them from being silent or just writing? So if you design a speaking task, you need to make sure that the task requires speaking and your students don't end up writing something or just remaining silent. Now, you also have to think about requiring listening. Would the task require students to listen? What is their purpose for listening? Of course, before you speak, you have to listen. So the design of the task is very important. You need to make sure that it requires speaking, that it also implies listening, that the task types are balanced, that there is language modeling, that you can model the language before you request or require students to speak. It's very important to model the language. And of course, you have to make sure that they remain active. Now, can this be done effectively online? Yes, but not with the resources we have in Dominican Public Schools. And that's what we talked about earlier, and that is basically what we discussed earlier. Now, Before we go ahead, because I don't want this class to finish before we review your assignment, what we have here is the assignment you were given for today, the one you were supposed to work on and submit to your tablet, in your Padlet, that is. Assignment 1 is speaking activity task. You had to complete where you teach, the grade levels and ages of your students, what proficiency level your students have. Of course, in this country, it's beginners for almost everybody. The activity title, what title did you give your activity? And the steps that you took on your activity. And if you have any remarks on it too. So now, I'm gonna again put you in breakout rooms, the same groups in the same order. And what I'd like you to do is to share your work. You can take turns, and some of you volunteer to share the assignment that you designed for your homework for today. Again, what I need you to do is to take the assignment and share it with your peers and explain them the activity that you have designed for your homework if you have. Those who have not, it's okay. You can stay here with me, but the idea again is teachers from regionals 1, 2, and 3, breakout room 1, regionals 4 and 5, breakout room number 2, regionals 6 and 7, breakout room number 3, regionals 8 and 9, breakout room number 4, regionals 11 and 12, breakout room number 5, regionals 13 and 14, breakout room number 6, regionals 15 and 16, breakout room number 7, and teachers from regional 17 and 18, breakout room number 8. Again, what you are going to do now, if you have it at hand, look for your assignment, and you are going to share your assignment with your classmates. If you don't have one, just enter the room and listen to others and see exactly what they have presented and basically listen, because you can also learn by listening. Breakout rooms are now open. Hold on, let me close the ones before because they were still open. Okay, I'm opening all the breakout rooms. Now you can join the breakout rooms that pertain to your group. Go ahead. Regional 10 stays here with me. Join the rooms that correspond to your regionals.
I don't see the option to join the room.
Yeah, go down on your screen and click on the 4 squares. There are 4 squares or 4 dots. Click on the 4 squares at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I just see it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you don't find it, just go at the bottom of the screen, at the bottom, click on the 4 squares, and you will find the rooms there, and you'll be able to join them. Only regional 10 stays here. The others, please, join the rooms of your corresponding regional. Please turn off your microphone. Someone has their microphone on. Santa Vizcaíno, please. Okay, I just did. Okay. Esther Perez, do you have your assignment?
Okay, I'm here.
No?
Teacher, yes, actually, I wrote...
Hold on, Esther. Raul Lara, what's the matter?
I can see the square that you say.
No, just go to the bottom of the screen, and there are 4 small squares. Click on the tab, and you can find them. If you don't, it's okay. You can stay here with us. You can share with us. If you don't have it, it's fine. You can stay here. Not a problem. Esther, do you have your assignment ready?
Actually, yes, I wrote something.
Okay, let me just. I'm gonna show on the screen, and you will go step by step.
Okay.
Tell us how and what you actually designed. Let's begin with Esther. Okay, Esther. Now, go ahead.
Let me look for it just a moment.
Okay, if somebody else has it, go ahead. While Esther looks for.
Yes, I have it. Oh, okay. I have it here.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Esther.
Okay, wait.
Where do you teach?
Sorry?
Where do you teach? Is the first question.
Actually, yes, I teach in Escuela Nacional para Sordos. I have 2 years there.
Wow. What are the grade levels and ages of your students?
They are from 1 to 6th grade high school, and they have like, 15, 16.
And how do you teach the deaf?
Yeah. It's really difficult, but that is a great experience.
Do you use sign language?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I need to.
Please explain it. Explain. I'm anxious to listen to your activity. Go ahead.
Actually, what I need to do is, for example, in their cases, the English, let's say, that I use to teach them is, vocabulary, because, and sometimes, some sentences, phrases, and so on. Because we know that they don't have, let's say, the whole capacity, right, to understand too many things.
Of course, they're deaf, so they don't speak.
Yes, that's true. So I need, for example, if I'm going to teach them a specific topic, I need to go from vocabulary and then so on. Then I could use those, words and make some sentences, simple sentences, and then, they can learn some phrases and so on. So I try to teach them some grammar, basic grammar, like
I got it.
To be. I used to teach them the verbs, depending on the tense, could be the present tense, simple present, simple past, and so on. And yes, it's a little bit difficult.
That's very interesting. We need to talk later with you about teaching English to the deaf. We have a program for that later. Thank you. Karina Hernandez.
That is good.
Yes, that's something we can share. Karina Hernandez, I'm going to show the screen again. Listen, one more time. There are people with their microphones on. Please, we need everybody to keep their microphones muted. Please. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm having this class today is because we need to make sure that beginning on Monday, this doesn't repeat. I was talking to Dr. Laura Backer, and the only thing that she would like to improve in the program is the interruptions on the microphones. She is really happy and pleased to be in this program. But when we, after last class, we had a meeting and I was wondering, what can we do to make this class better? And the only thing that occurs to us is improving, the etiquette and protocol here, because there's too much interruption with microphones on unexpectedly. So please, let's make an extra effort to maintain and keep our microphones muted. I would like Karina Hernandez at this moment to show us and tell us about her assignment. Karina, where do you teach?
English.
Where?
Hello, everyone. Basic.
Hold on, Karina. Hold on. Please stop. There's a sound on the microphone. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Karina.
Oh, yes. I'm working in Felix Moreno School.
Okay.
Which is a basic school.
Where?
And I'm going to, which is a basic school.
So what I mean, which regional office? Regional?
10, the 10 one.
Oh, perfect. What grade levels are your students?
Well, I work in first, second level, or the cycle of primary and first one of secondary.
So you teach from 4th to 7th. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What proficiency level do you think your students have?
No, they don't have anything. They use
a beginner.
From the beginners, yes.
Okay. What title did you give your activity?
The name of this, which is, let me see, talking about my personal information.
Okay, go ahead. What are the steps that you followed? Go ahead.
Yeah. The adjective is, the student will be able to talk about themselves using vocabulary learned in the previous classes as reading, food, colors, animals, family members, etc. The beginning, the teacher started the class giving welcome to the students and motivating them to continue giving their best to achieve their goals. Then, teacher review our previous class and ask to the students if they remember what we learned, how we did, and for what. Development. The teacher introduced the class for today, explaining the student what will be the dynamic for the class, and also the topic with is talking about personal, which is talking about personal information. Besides that, teacher shows them a YouTube video where they are going to see some questions about personal information and how they can be answered. This is the link. The teacher asks the students to pay special attention to the pronunciation and the meaning of each question. The teacher shows them 10 questions that they have to respond with their own personal information. Some of those questions are, what's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? Where do you live? What is your father's name? What is your mother's name? What do you do? What do you do? What is your favorite color? What is your favorite animal? What is your favorite food? Then the teacher shows them another video where they are going to review the formal and informal reading and explain the other exercise they have to do after they complete the 10 questions, the 10 personal questions.
One question, Karina. Why do you feel this activity?
Hello?
Why do you feel this activity is appropriate for your students?
Because as they don't know how to present themselves, so they can get those questions, and if somebody asks them what's their name or what's their favorite colors, simple things that they can use to talk.
Do you feel your students will be willing to do it, to speak in English, to do that?
Yes, including I was raising my hands to talk about this in their last topic because the way I plan in my class, I use WhatsApp to do it, and I also try to include the speaking, the listening, and the writing skills. What I did, I always send another voice explaining what they have to do, and also I always send a video, 1 or 2 videos where they can reinforce what I said.
Very well.
I also,
you pre-teach, you prepare. That's
yes.
Very, very good job. Thank you very much, Karina. Let's listen to Wendy Carbonell. Wendy has her activity too. Let's see what she has to say about that. Thank you. Wendy?
Hi, everyone.
Wendy, let's talk about your activity. What exactly did you prepare? In this case, let's talk about the speaking activity. Where do you teach?
Okay, I teach at the Politécnico Professor Juan Bosch.
And what grade levels you teach?
5th grade and 4th grade.
Okay, what proficiency level do you feel your students have?
Beginner.
Okay, what title did you give your activity?
Okay, my activity is your phone number? It's for giving phone numbers.
Okay, go ahead, explain it now.
Okay, the step, first, the students write their telephone numbers in a piece of paper without names. I take papers with the numbers and put it in that. And then every student choose one piece of paper with the numbers and try to find the owner of the telephone numbers. For example, is your telephone number 829-34123? No, it's not. And go to another student until every student find the owner of the telephone numbers and write the name.
Very well. That's
an activity to know.
That's very good. Thank you very much. Maciel Rodriguez, go ahead. Thank you, Wendy.
Okay. I was laughing because my activity is similar to Wendy's one.
Go ahead anyway.
Yes. I teach in primary school to students from 4th grade to 6th grade in the regional 10. My activity is also about personal information, basic personal information, and it is also with papers. The students will write in a piece of paper information like where they live, how are they, and the favorite color, and also the phone number without writing their names. So the teacher will pick up the papers and so forth into the other students, and they are going to different partners to ask questions. Where do you live? What is your favorite color? What is your phone number? And how old are you? Only those 4 questions, and they will find the owner of the paper, put in their names according to the information.
And again, what grade level is that?
4th to 6th, but that activity it's only I only have used it with 6th grade.
6th grade.
Yeah.
Because it's very similar to Wendy's, and Wendy teaches in high school.
Yes, I said that.
My goodness. You know what the thing is? That despite the fact that Wendy has students in high school, truth is that most students in the country have a basic level of English. So the level,
they are beginners,
is not necessarily related to the language level of our students. And that is what we need to improve. Okay, I'll be closing the other breakout rooms now, so that everybody comes back here so that we can continue. This has been fantastic. Let's welcome the others because we should go ahead. But anyway, the idea of this program again is that you reflect on it. We need everybody to think about these ideas. This is the best example. Maciel and Wendy had the same activity, despite the fact that there is a difference of 4 or 5 grade levels, school grade levels between them. So that tells us something as well. So when the others come back, we shall continue. If you haven't done your speaking task, you only have to go to the Padlet again and choose the activity, download it, complete it, and then upload it this weekend to the Padlet, because it'll be there and we will eventually see it and review it. So it doesn't matter if you haven't done it. Now you have an idea on how to do it, but try to do the speaking activity yourself, download it from the Padlet, and then upload it to your group. If you don't have a group, choose any of the groups. It's okay. The idea is that everybody participate. Okay? Then let's go ahead. Let me go ahead with the presentation now because I need to speak to you for a while before we finish tonight. Let's see what it is on your mind. Everybody's coming back. Now, let's reflect now, based on everything we've seen today and what you have told me and I have presented. Some conclusions. In the context of Dominican Public Schools, what are the main challenges you experience when teaching speaking skills online versus teaching speaking skills in person? And how would you suggest to address these challenges? Then what are those main challenges you experience? Teaching speaking skills online versus doing it in person, and how do you suggest to do it? Now, this is the question. Now, I guess everybody's back. Again, in the context of Dominican Public Schools, what are the main challenges you in particular experience when teaching speaking skills online versus teaching speaking skills in person? That is the concluding reflection. And how would you address these issues? Let's see who raises their hand? Danalis Garcia and Jasaira and her beautiful baby. I insist, this kid is going to be a teacher. Absolutely. Okay, Danalis, then Jasaira, and then Ezequiel Polanco. Those three first. And then Hector again. Go ahead, Danalis.
Mister, I'm going to focus on two factors because I know that my colleagues have others, but the two factors that in my case were the numbers of students I have 300 of students.
But how many do you have per class, per group?
30.
30.
In a virtual class, 30, 26, things like that. So what I did is like you said that WhatsApp is not an app to develop speaking or a foreign language to teach it. But for example, we used to use Teams. We don't have that part like you have right now that you have different groups here. You can do it in like we were now. We were in different
breakout rooms.
Breakout rooms, right? We don't have that. So how do we do it? In my case, I used to work through WhatsApp with no voices.
Mm-hmm. Voice notes. Okay.
TikTok. Videos on TikTok. But it was kind of difficult because of the numbers of the students. So I was like making crazy. I used to have to work with two groups one day. Okay, today I'm gonna work with these two groups. Like it was like 26, like 60. So I have to check 60 voice notes.
That's the point, and that's why I'm telling you, WhatsApp, an app like WhatsApp, won't serve the purpose, because first of all, you have 30 students a class. It's virtually impossible for you to follow up on your students. Moreover, you have no control over the authenticity of your work. If you want to develop language skills, authentic input and authentic output are both necessary. You see? And that's but since we have so many comments, let's get to Josaida and then Lisbeth. They have raised their hands. Go ahead, Josaida.
Okay, thank you. So my main challenge in my experience is that, for example, online, they don't log in or their cameras are off all the time. They just don't want to turn on their cameras. So I'm talking to a wall practically. You know?
Before you go ahead, I want to make this technically correct. Danielis's issue is class size, and Josaida's issue is engagement. That is what is referred to technically speaking. The challenge for Danielis is basically class size. It's too big. And Josaida finds it hard to get her students engaged. If you are not engaged, you can't learn anything, not English, anything. Because there's no attention, there's no focus, and then there's no language development. So we have two issues, class size and student engagement. Keep those in mind too.
And also, Danielis, excuse me that I interrupt you. Danielis is very lucky because she has this amount of students connected. She was very lucky because in my case, I have also 26, 24 students, and I only had about 12, sometimes 8, sometimes 9. And talking about Josaida, that the same happened to me. So the engagement was amazing. And
so student engagement and class size were a problem. And if you have, as Conrado Sanchez says, he had 25. If those 25 only had 12 connected and then not engaged, you have nothing.
Exactly.
Ezequiel and then Lisbeth. I'm sorry, Josaida has not finished. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry. No, the problem in my present classes is that they don't like English. They say, I'm not Gringo teacher. Why do I need English? Speaking Spanish.
I am sorry to disagree with you. When somebody tells me in this country that students don't like English, I usually tell them that they're wrong. If you play a song in English, if you play a good video in English. I can tell you, people who don't speak any English, they do video games in English, they interact. If there is a song, they love that song in English. The thing is, what they don't like is not English, is the English class. Why? Because the English class is not engaging enough, is not interesting enough, is not appealing enough, is not fun enough. And then what we have to do as teachers is to make our classes more engaging, more fun, more appealing. But for that, we need a good English program that includes not only materials and resources, but follow-up, supervision, training, family involvement, student involvement, a policy, a national language learning policy. But again, Josiah, it's not that they don't like English. They like English. What they don't like is the English class because of the nature of it. And we are going to make it better. We will eventually make it better. So Ezekiel now and Lisbeth, because we only have 15 more minutes. Ezekiel?
Okay, my issues is low down anxiety with my students.
What do you mean?
My classes, the stress level they have.
What do you mean?
Because in terms of speaking activities, you know that they always are afraid of make mistakes.
Okay, anxiety. Okay. All right. Okay. That's normal, Ezekiel, let me tell you something. In this country, 2 years ago, they ran a survey. And the survey questioned, what do you fear the most in life? They surveyed Dominicans, asking them what they feared the most in life. And you know what Dominicans fear the most? I'm going to show you a book. It's called Public Speaking. Dominicans don't like to speak in public. And if you have to do it in a second language, it's even worse, Ezekiel. What do you think about that?
Let me tell you what I did. Okay, so I make them to download in their devices Flipgrid. So we start to do activities like self-presentation. First time they have to make a video themselves doing a self-presentation. And then after that, I ask them to make another video teaching somebody from their family or a friend how to do a self-presentation in English. So in that way, I make my students to feel like what they are learning is useful.
And why do you think they didn't have so much anxiety in Flipgrid?
It is because of the fact that they can practice.
Exactly.
And they see the video before to upload it. And
okay, so
they say, oh my God, I make a mistake. Let me do it once again and once again. But this is something that doesn't happen when they are in real life situation. When they are in the classroom, they have to do it they just have one chance. And the level of stress goes up higher,
yeah.
So Ezekiel is making a great point. Teaching online, distance learning also has advantages. And one of those advantages is that if you use an application like that, you reduce anxiety levels and you develop self-confidence because students have time to rehearse their work over and over again and provide a final product. So that is advantages. That is an advantageous use of technology, and that is good for that single activity. Very well, Ezekiel. We have, first of all, let's see, because we have Rosanna in that order, because we don't have much time now. Lisbeth, first Lisbeth, then Rosanna, and then John Ruiz. Those three, please, in that order. Please, be brief. Go ahead, Lisbeth.
I will categorize mine into family involvement because sometimes I have these kind of students who want to participate and are willing to learn in classes, but sometimes students do not engage into learning process. Sometimes they have the radios, sometimes they got the services in the house, and when students are going to participate, sometimes I listen to loud voices and they do not collaborate a lot. Sometimes I also have students who are working, and then sometimes I ask myself, like, how are you gonna have your kid to be working and to be completing assignments at the same time? So like it's too much for a person. And they want students to have good grades and to work at the same time. With this pandemic, I know there's been lots of economical issues, but we need to be focused on what's first.
Yeah, but you can't actually change the fact that your students need to work. So what we need to find is a solution to that. Not, I mean, you won't help that because it's their realities, their needs. So what I would suggest is to find a strategy to help them do it despite the fact they shouldn't have to work. They should not. But if that's the reality you have, we have to find a way out of it, and try to find a way to help them do it despite the fact that they have to work. Rosanna, go ahead.
Hello. In the case of the technology, I break the rules because we have synchronic classes from Google Meet and asynchronous classes from Google Classroom.
Okay.
If I have 30 students, I only have 10 students that get into Google Meet because they don't have internet. But the majority of them get into Google Classroom and send me the homeworks. Even though my school and my district demand to me that I have to obligate the student to get into Google Meet.
And do they do it?
I don't care the way that I receive the homeworks. If they have the opportunity to get into Google Classroom, it's right for me. If I ask them to send me the video and it's too heavy for them, I receive my videos from WhatsApp group. I receive my homeworks from the notebook, whatever they want to be near to me.
That's perfect because, listen, no, that's not, the key here is the design of the Dominican curriculum. Remember, the Dominican curriculum is supposed to be student-centered, not school-centered and not teacher-centered. So
I evaluate listening and speaking from audios and video, and they feel free because it's personal. They don't have the pressure from the other student.
They don't have pressure. That's right. But again, the point is,
and I assign reading and writing on your notebook, and all of them work to me.
That's
because
perfect.
I receive whatever the way they can.
No, it's all right. It's all right. I get it. Now, thank you, Rosanna. Johnny Ruiz, please.
Well, teacher, my principal challenge is to achieve that the students speak English in class because they are afraid to speak each other.
Anxiety, that's what Andrea Ezequiel was talking about, right?
Yeah, one reason is they only focus in errors. Not in errors, yes, not in practicing English.
May I give you one piece of advice?
Yes,
if that is the case?
Yes.
I had many projects in public schools, and whenever I enter class, they were impressed because I never speak Spanish. However, I make sure to make myself comprehensible because the key here is comprehensible input. However, one key I used to use was to always begin my class with a song. First, I make sure I teach them the song, a song that is easy to pronounce, that is catchy, that they like, that is appropriate to their age. And I spent my first days in school teaching them a song. Why do I do that? I only do that to build confidence in using the language, even if they don't understand what it says, even if they don't know the words well. So when Ezequiel was talking about reducing anxiety and stress, that's what he referred to. The human brain cannot learn under stress and anxiety. And when people are anxious, afraid to speak, they will not produce, they will not do it. Neither English nor Spanish, because some people have the same problem in Spanish. That's why they can't speak in public. There are people in Spanish who can't say a word in public. Stage fright. The key here is stage fright. How do you reduce stage fright? By, again, reducing stress and anxiety. English language teaching is very different from mathematics, science, or any other subject. The idea is to enamor your students with English. First and foremost, you need to enamor your students with English. You need, before you go to the first class, you have to find something that appeals to your students. In my case, what I have found for children and teenagers is music. That's my case. It doesn't have to be like that for you. But the best way I find it is basically to get a good song and begin my classes with a song. I always use the first 4 minutes of my class to relax my students. Either a video, a song, something that is relaxing and reduces anxiety and stress. I never open the book. I never begin teaching by teaching. I begin teaching by reducing stress, anxiety, and by playing. Because the human brain doesn't learn from direct instruction, not a second language, which is one of the problems we have in this country. That there's no way you're going to develop language skills. So Johnny, my point again is that, and Josiah said something similar, it is not that they don't want, it is not that they don't like English. The thing is that we need to understand two things: the nature of learning and the nature of language. In terms of the nature of learning, the right conditions, behaviorally, mentally, attitudinally, linguistically, must be given. You have to pave the way. First, do not teach English by teaching English, because that you're not teaching, you are directing. So my advice, and I love the comment Ezequiel Polanco made, is that if you read the research, the science on learning a foreign or second language, anxiety, stress, behavior, attitude must be beaten first. I am school director and I train my teachers. And I always tell my teachers, a class session is 45 minutes. In a 45-minute session, you don't teach more than 20 minutes. They ask, why, Juan? Why, director? Why, professor? Oh, because first, you have to create the conditions for learning. This is not about timing. I mean, it is about time, but it's not about time, the amount of time. It is about how you teach and how they learn. The first thing is that you have to canvas the territory. When you go to the classroom, it's like a war zone. The first thing you do is canvas the territory. See what's going on when you arrive to the class. But I will teach you about that later because time is almost over. And I want, before I finish, I know everybody would like to say something, but we're running out of time. This class is so exciting. You are so amazing. Honestly, I'm really proud of you. I have worked with teachers in other countries in South America, and it's really hard to get teachers engaged as you do for 2.5, 3 hours. You are amazing. Congratulations. Now, before I finish, I want to hear some more of your final comments and questions about this program. People who haven't asked anything or have a question before we go ahead, because next Monday, let me tell you what's going to happen next Monday. Next Monday, we're having the grand opening of this course. I know we've been around for 2 weeks, but next Monday we'll have a ceremony with INAFOCAM staff, the directors, the officials from INAFOCAM, just an opening, and then go ahead with class with Dr. Laura Backer. We'll be working on the 3rd module next. Download from the Padlet the course syllabus. Take a look at the 3rd module, okay? And before I get to that, let me do it now, because I want to make sure that you know what you're supposed to do for next class. For next class, we're talking about module number 3, principles and approaches in teaching listening skills. So module number 3, that's going to be next class on Monday, is on principles and approaches on teaching listening skills online. Now, this class was about teaching speaking skills, the last class. The next class will be about teaching listening skills online. So read and prepare, do your research, always go online, download something, find out something very, very important. Write down your questions before the class, not after the class. If the next class is about teaching listening skills, think about it, reflect, analyze, look for information, and write some questions that you might ask Dr. Laura Backer or myself about teaching listening skills. So before I finish, I want to hear Vidal Andres, Ana Luisa, Dennis, and Richard first. Please ask a direct question and let's not make long comments. If you have questions, please ask a direct question now that I can answer and satisfy your questions. Go ahead, Vidal.
Good afternoon, good evening, teacher. It's not a question. What about the last topic about how to teach the student, today's student, something that a teacher must keep in mind now, that is that today's students are technological students. And as a teacher, you must innovate about the resource you are going to teach to the student. For example, for teaching online, there are many rules to prepare your resource, the dynamic resource, like a letter soup, crossword. I am according with you when you say that you begin with a song so that you can motivate students to stay in the classroom. Okay.
Very well.
Can you? Okay.
Thank you, Vidal. Just one thing to keep in mind. You may have 100 different tools, but the key is not the tool. The key is the instructional design. Which tool you use, when you use it, what for you use it, and what results you get, and how you measure results. Keep that in mind. I can give you 100 tools to teach online, or to teach on a cell phone, or to teach by any means, any technological means, but you need to think about the design of your instruction. That is instructional design. For example, you don't use the same app for teaching writing as you do for teaching speaking, you see? And you have to keep in mind that you need to measure results. When you use an app, you must always have a way to measure the results of the use of that app. And do not build false hopes and delusions. Always measure results, because you can try different ones until you find the right ones for the right language skills. You see?
It's okay, teacher. I don't refer to the tool. If not, the activity, the kind of activity you prepare with that resource, with that rule, okay, a dynamic activity so that student can feel funny in the class. He can interact. He can game. There are many games that they can be motivated to stay in class. There is a rule named Kahoot. When you can prepare many games, the student like to be in the classroom. They want to learn English in that way. So if you prepare the different kind of resource, not the tool, not the rule, if not the activity you prepare to keep the student
interested and engaged. What Vidal is talking about is always keeping your class interesting and engaging. And Vidal is right. When people say that students don't like English, well, the thing is that students get bored. Vidal is actually claiming, and he's right, that you always must have resources to maintain interest and engagement in your class. And that technology can be useful for that. Very well. We have Richard. We had Richard, Marlene. They raise their hands. Go ahead. Richard first, and then Dennis, and then Marlene. And we finish there. Go ahead.
Okay.
Questions? Yeah, questions, please
No question. I gotta say something about some of the partner has said tonight about the sun challenge that we have in the schools today.
Yes.
I remember when I went to my school, those students, most in the countryside, they don't have any interest in English. They have been without English teacher for 2 years. So it was a little difficult for me to start classes with them. But what I did was really to show them, to make them conscious the importance of English for them in the life.
So what you did was to get your students to reflect, Richard. You got your students to reflect on the importance. That's very good, because Vidal was talking about keeping them engaged and interested. You're talking about what you're referring to is called raising awareness. You raise awareness on your students. That's just perfect. Guys, we don't have much time. I'm going to ask now another question. Please listen to this question. What would you like us to do to make this course better for you? What would you like to improve in this program? What would you like us to change or to improve in the program? I want to know that before next class, because I have a meeting with Dr. Laura Backer next weekend. And again, let me make it very clear. Our goal is to make a really effective English language program in this country, in public education. And that depends mostly on you. So I need to know, what would you like this program to do better? This program in particular. What would you like us to improve, or what would you like to be different? Let me just know that. And then I would like to get some examples and some questions on that, please. Or just some statements. What would you like us to improve in the program? Be very precise, please. Anybody? Turn on your microphone if you have any suggestions for improvement.
Teacher, if you want, we can send you that to your WhatsApp.
It's okay. Yes, you can do it on WhatsApp because we don't have much time. But I would appreciate your letting us know if you would like something to be better. Teachers, I must express again how proud I am of you when, you know, I do a lot of public speaking. I have a radio program and I do a lot of interviews on education. And I always say that in the Dominican Republic, teachers are not the problem. Teachers are really the solution. And every time I talk to you, I have a chance to have a program like this, you reinforce my idea and my conviction that you are the solution to improving education in this country. I am really proud of you, English language teachers in this country, your commitment, your level. And I can tell you that eventually we shall overcome. We just need to hang tight, remain together, and keep doing what we're doing now. I hope to have you all again next Monday, in next Monday's class. Please be punctual at 5 p.m. Please remember, keep your microphones muted unless asked to do otherwise, because we have to reduce interruptions in the program. Thank you all very much for participating in tonight's class. And I'm so happy because this just keeps getting better and better. Have a good night, and I'll see you again on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Good night.